We are going to be learning how to do a Neurodoodle design combined with drawing. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step the process that I use to teach my students how to create these amazing designs. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you my new favorite art project. This art lesson is awesome if you are a middle or high school art teacher and you're looking for something engaging that's going to teach your students a little bit of drawing skills. Works for your beginners through an advanced, can be completely modified, and also includes an element of self-expression, self-awareness, and meditation. This lesson really has it all. Also, if you're someone who just wants to learn a little bit about those things, this lesson is for you too. So let's get to it. So the first step is you want to get a really good drawing. I like to use the X-grid method of drawing. This is how I teach my students, just because it gives them the structure that they need without being too tight. So they can break the boxes down just enough so they can map out the location and compare relationships without having too many lines on their paper. So they can break it down more as they need to. So all of the materials used in this video, I'll link below. So if you want to, you're a teacher and you want to get your students practicing, or if you're just someone who wants to learn how to draw and draw these Neurodoodle designs, these are great for you too. Practice is always great, and I like to have them practice on a smaller scale like this, just because it's a little less intimidating. And we've drawn our image using the X-grid, and I also have another video I'll link below also that goes really into depth on how to draw using the X-grid. So if you're unsure of how to do that, I would definitely check that out. So the next step is to practice these Neurodoodle designs. You can use the worksheet that I have linked below, or you can do this design on really any sheet of paper, but it's good to get used to creating these rounded edges and corners. So here I'm going right over the printed reference image, and I'm smoothing out the lines. Wherever there's a V shape, I'm rounding out the V shape into a U shape and smoothing out the design. So here I am speeding it up just for time's sake, but you can see that there are no sharp edges in the design, and all the corners are rounded and all the lines are flowing from thick to thin. So once you've done that on your practice, then you can go on to the final drawing. And the next step is to add those Neurodoodle lines right over the top. So this can look really scary, which is why I like practicing first on something that isn't feeling like, oh my God, I just ruined my final project.
I just ruined everything.
So this printout here is great for that. So you're gonna just use those flowing lines kind of right over the top. If you don't wanna do just the flowing lines, you can trace some shapes, but you can see the design coming along pretty quickly here and get an idea for what your actual final drawing will look like. So it's not quite so intimidating or scary when you draw those crazy lines over the top of the image. You can actually see that it does come together. So I feel like practicing small like that with some of the steps already done really builds trust in the process. So once you or your students have practiced, the next step is to just go for it and draw your free form lines or shapes, or trace a pattern, or whatever you decide you want to do over the top, right on top of your smoothed out drawing. Then you just follow the same steps that were already practiced. So you or your students should be getting good at this and really trusting what's going on here. And we're just doing the same exact thing we already did. We're just smoothing out any V shapes into U shapes, rounding corners. This process, I'm going to speed it up again, but this process is so relaxing and so meditative, and it's so chill to see your design kind of flow and come together. So some tips here are to move throughout your design, like follow the line throughout your design rather than bouncing around. I find that when you bounce around too much, you kind of feels like, you started cleaning your kitchen, then you got distracted by the laundry, and then you emptied the garbage, and at the end of the day, you have a bunch of half-done projects. but when you work on this design, it kind of gives you that same sense of a job completed or satisfaction when you see like one corner kind of come together and look like it's all related. It just feels better overall. So it's a very satisfying process.
Satisfaction.
So you can see the design kind of coming together here. Corners are nice and rounded. And that is the black and white finished Neurodoodle design drawing. So if you're a teacher and you're doing this project with your students, it's a great idea to have lots of different subject matter available for your students to draw from. You can have them choose their own images. If you do, I recommend using a square orientation. It just eliminates a lot of measuring problems and orientation problems, etc. So once you've smoothed out all the lines and you've kind of merged your design on top with the original drawing, the next step is color. And the cool thing about color, my favorite part about the color, is it makes the design stand out again. With just the black and white, the design kind of gets camouflaged and a little bit lost in the lines. But then when you add the color, the design kind of pops. So it also gives you this kind of cool stained glass effect. I like to use watercolor. Watercolor works really great with students if you're doing this in middle or high school. But the one thing you want to watch out for and really stress is keeping the color super light and using lots and lots of water and just letting the color kind of puddle a little bit. I have them mixed from just 3 colors. We use magenta, yellow, and teal. I think it's teal or turquoise, but it's the prime colors. And I have them mix up as many different variations of like reds as they can. And each shape is just a little bit different than the other, but not totally different because you want to unify the design all together again. And then they choose a contrasting color, again, light, but contrasting for the background. If you go too dark with your colors, you lose the line work, so hide your dark markers if you're giving them markers or colored pencils, and just really watch them with the water and make sure they're doing it super light. I make sure they have a sheet of practice paper next to them so they can test their colors so that they don't go too dark. So really that's it. This project is super fun. You can do it with marker. This one is done with marker, but I happen to have a set of Sharpies in I think it was like gem tones or something like that. So they were super, super light colors. So if you have a good set of lighter colored markers, you can do marker and colored pencil, and that works really awesome too. So if you like this video, Lauren, Inside Out Art Teacher, please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more art lesson ideas and inspiration if you are a teacher for your classroom. I share tips, tutorials, and everything to help you and your students. So thanks again. Take care.